Second pick with the Lakers, nobody really knew what they were going to do, and they decided, with the West, you have to have a strong guard. They went out and got D'Angelo Russell. Were you guys shocked by that pick at all? I mean, I don't think it was surprising. I think everyone knew it would be Russell or Okafor, and they went Russell. What are you guys' thoughts?
Well, I think that Russell just kind of fits better into the Lakers system, and I think he really enjoys the Hollywood lifestyle, and I think he relates better to that setting. I think Jaleel is going to take a few rebuilding years with the 76ers, but I think D'Angelo will fit right in, and I think Kobe, he'll really benefit from the mentorship that Kobe can give him as a guard, and I think he'll really flourish there.
Not surprised, because a lot of the reports going up to it were starting to say the Lakers are, leaning more and more towards D'Angelo Russell. So not surprising, but I don't agree with it. I think the Lakers did it hoping that they were going to get LaMarcus Aldridge or maybe even trade for DeMarcus Cousins. All of that has fallen through. And now they're left with maybe the option of DeAndre Jordan. So at the end of the day, D'Angelo Russell is not a bad pick. He's still, the second or third best player in the draft. A lot of people are saying he's the best player in the draft, but just didn't fit the needs for Minnesota. So he's going to be good for them down the road. But I still think Jaleel was going to be a better pick and a better player down the long run.
And I agree with you, Paul. I like the Russell pick. I think in the West, how we've seen, you have to have strong guard play, and the Lakers are struggling at the guard position. It helps that they're bringing Kobe back, but they got Jeremy Lin and Jordan Clarkson as their two main point guards. Lin, obviously, ever since his and Paul is telling me right now he's out. Clarkson, young kid who's real athletic, not a bad guard, but he's not a starter in the NBA. Russell's going to be able to come in, get his own right away, and help lead this team with Kobe. But I agree with Paul. Now that these transactions with not getting Aldridge, they're not going to bring in a big guy. They're struggling. You're bringing back Julius Randle off his injury, which is a little skeptical. Coming off the injury, you hope he's going to be able to come in and do well for them. But after him, you got Ed Davis. Boozer, I think, is supposed to leave. Jordan Hill's at their center. He's an athletic center, okay. And then you got Zachary, who's like a 45-year-old looking guy in the NBA. So they're really struggling in the front court. So I like the Russell pick, but I kind of agree with Paul. I think Okafor would have been a sure bet. And you're bringing Kobe back, so it's we'll see how well Kobe and Russell are able to play together. Russell in college was the main option. He was the main scorer for Ohio State. And now you got two main scorers in Kobe and D'Angelo. I think it's going to be interesting to see how those two guys work it out, and if the Lakers are able to bring in a guy into the front court.
I don't think my team is the Lakers, who I didn't think did a good job. It's not necessarily that they had a bad offseason. It's just they fell short of what they wanted to do. They were talked up being in the Aldridge sweepstakes and the Love sweepstakes. They obviously don't get any of them. They end up with Lou Williams, Robin Lopez, Brandon Bass, all downgrades from that. But what it was being talked up as is they were going to give Kobe one last chance, team him up with one last star, and it just didn't happen. It didn't come to fruition. Thank you, Paul. See, now all these additions would be really good if this was a contender, but you're just adding good role players to a team that's not currently contending. Did you want to say something?
Yeah. Can I wanted to know what you guys think about this. Do you think that the reason the Lakers aren't getting free agents is because of Kobe? I mean, yesterday the LA media had a press conference with the new rookies for the Lakers. 2 out of 3 of them, I think the only one that said they had talked to Kobe was D'Angelo Russell, but Kobe hasn't even talked to 2 of their new draft picks. I mean, is it because of Kobe being such a terrible teammate that they're missing out on the Aldridges, the DeAndre Jordans, Greg Monroe, all those guys? Or is it just, bad for an office?
I agree with that completely. Was it not true that when Aldridge came to visit in L.A. and I think Kobe came and met with them, he basically said, "You're going to be my Pau Gasol," which isn't awful. I mean, they did win a championship with him, but you're basically saying you're going to be my backup. You're my Scotty, which isn't awful, but I don't think that's what Aldridge wants to come in and basically hear you say, "Well, you're going to be my second player," which is maybe true, but that's not something you say to a guy you're trying to bring into a team to try and help. I mean, I think something you would say is, you're going to come here, we're going to have a great chance of winning basketball games, hopefully get this team back in the playoffs, not basically you're going to be my second-hand man and, do what I tell you to. So, yeah, I agree in that Kobe is kind of hurting them, and I wonder if it's more – I mean, if they had players, I just think it's been such a struggle the last few years. He's been injured. They haven't had good teams. I just think, he's getting towards the end of his career. He's just not there all the way, and I think, if he's on the floor, he wants to be the best player, and I think that's just the problem. I think if he could switch his mentality of, if we could bring in one or two guys, I don't have to be the best guy. The problem is he always has been, and he probably can be for the most part. I just think his mindset hasn't been right. The struggles haven't helped. So, yes, and long story short, yes, I think Kobe is the reason they haven't been able to bring in good players. All right, Nick agreed. Nick Damiani, Paul Lamb, myself, Neil Doyle. Thanks for listening tonight, and we'll see you next week. Crossover Report, Spreaker Radio.
Coming at you from the Shy 708. We got 6 rings, Michael Jordan great. Need to save the date, this a brand new debate. Talk teams that we love and talk teams that we hate. You hear that? This the sound of greatness, with a couple young guns bringing you the latest. Break down the film and what you see on the screen. Is the cap space enough and is he worth the green? Yeah. This some classic debate from the guys who still gotta go to class at 8. Don't worry about that, cause they still so great. So just sit back and listen, let them fascinate, yeah.